welcome back to F1 Manager 24's Create a Team mode. It's round 21. We're getting towards the crux of the season now. Brazil time, another sprint race. There's a couple of things to get sorted. I started the research for the rear wing as well, since we got the little bit of money in from engagement or the month ticking over. I forget which, but one of those things that gives you money is 1st of November, so it'll be the board money, I guess. In case you're wondering why the number being higher than it was last time, despite spending money on a research part, is because I've preemptively given myself the money to get Mick Schumacher a new ERS. And full disclosure, because of the cost cap email, I just wanted to also preemptively take money out of the cost cap, giving myself that refund that new players will have if they started to save since the last patch, which of course this wasn't. So got that buffer zone back that I should have had at the beginning of the season and should have now in theory if I, started the save with a fully functioning Create a Team start. But that's there now just to prevent any faff in that regard going forward. I've also, of course, refunded all of the other constructors for their first new powertrain parts. And kind of going through that process, genuinely, if the first powertrain part you get was free, and then you only pay for every subsequent one after that, genuinely, that would be an incredibly balanced system. Because obviously the problem with that, as I've said before, the problem with that is F122 had those high powertrain part costs to help balance the financial situation. Then F123 brought in the cost cap. I can't remember if it was F123 brought in the cost cap or not, or if it was just never a problem in F122 that nobody ever cared about the cost cap. But F123 brought in higher development part costs, facility maintenance costs, and things like that. It brought the price of everything else up, but then didn't bring the price of the powertrain parts down to balance that out. And then the cost cap became a huge problem in F123 as a result of that. So I think realistically, looking at that now, and now you don't earn as much, it's not as easy to earn as much as it was in F123. It's now, ironically, as I said before, harder to get to the cost cap because you literally can't buy that if you had the correct cost cap to begin with in Create a Team, of course. You can see there we would have 31 million left over at this point in time, simply because we cannot afford anything else. So I think genuinely, if those powertrain parts, first one was free, it would be an incredibly balanced financial system. Just that one change would actually sort that out, and I believe that's the actual way it works. Still get the penalty for it, but you don't have to pay for it. That being said, I did also have a look at the overall ranking here. This 19th is erroneous. I think we are averaging around 15, 16-ish, and that seems to be where we are for this particular racetrack anyway. So I do think this is a better accurate measure of where your car is than the overall ranking. That's still a little bug, and I don't know why.
Our F1 season brings us to Brazil for the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. The Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache has been a staple of the racing calendar for decades, and soon we'll once again be watching the best drivers in the world give it their all.
This weekend will be taking a slightly different form, as we have the addition of a thrilling sprint race thrown into the mix.
Now let's crack on with the weekend.
Just the one practice session, of course, so I'll be back for sprint qualifying shortly. Sao Paulo is a relatively short lap, so I think the 2-lap, 1-lap system should work perfectly fine. Of course, these are the only tyres we get to use in this session, so it does feel very much, unless you have a problem, these are your laps. Looking at you, Piastri in 16th right now, if I'm honest. Doesn't appear to be driving super quickly. Albon 10th, Tsunoda 4th. Just feel like some people are out of position here. Alonso only 11th. Gasly, Sargent and Zhou yet to do times, though that might be Zhou just going 17th himself. And this is probably Gasly and Sargent on the main straight. Gasly ahead 16th, behind Maloney just. Sargent ahead of Maloney just. Maloney could do with getting another good lap out here. What are we on? A 1:07. So realistically, we don't need to go out until at least 2 minutes on the clock. Although a yellow flag would make things interesting. Yellow flag, obviously we're seeing it very late because I was on 16 speed, but Sergio Perez turn 1. This came out about a minute or so, flag-wise. Well, believe it, Sergio, you've binned it. Thankfully, you were already 9th. All right, so Maloney comes out behind the Williams there. Are we both behind a Williams? Yeah, we've 2x2. We've gone alternating with the Williams there. Not intentionally, it's just how it's panned out. So Maloney's a lot further behind Mick than I was hoping he would be there. There's another yellow flag, and there's a cheer from the crowd as Zhou Guanyu has binned it Oh, we've seen that replay without actually being given the choice. This is mandatory, apparently, to watch show. Why did he sound like a child with that line? He might as well just said, I've done a boo-boo. Oh, it is quite warm, actually. It's very hot on track in Sao Paulo, but it's a very short lap, so I don't know whether to attack the tyres to get them up to temperature or not, as soon as possible. So Mick does have a new ERS because his ERS would have gone under the threshold at this race. So Maloney's on the borderline for Russell's locked up for good measure as well. It's all kicking off. Maloney's on the borderline for an engine, which of course would still be his first engine, so it would be free. But I think he might be in the running to get another gearbox, which wouldn't be free because he's already taken the free allocated one. As someone sneaks in ahead there. Was it a Haas? Or was it Piastri getting himself? No, Piastri's still 22nd. So I think whomever that McLaren is on track, they must be coming into the pits. They are, yes. Okay, so that's good. We're now dragging the Williams along, though, which isn't great. Which one is it? Is it Albon anyway? No, it is Sargent. Oh, good. Why are they so close? I think we're going to help Sargent get through here by accident. We're not going faster anyway, so I don't know why we're bothering here. I think Maloney might be out because Piastri's doing a lap and he's presumably going to right himself. Ricciardo goes up to 9th. Piastri goes up to 5th. Plus Magnussen back out temporarily. Check when you and Ocon definitely out as things stand. Mick does do a better middle sector. Gasly goes 15th. Bottas goes 40th ahead of Mick. Oh god, Mick's in danger, although he has done a better middle sector, so hopefully we can get at least Bottas back. No, we can't, because the other sectors are worse. I mean, we were predicted 15th here, so we didn't help Sargent in the end. And Hulkenberg just nips Gasly back out again. Kind of a predictable bottom 6, but Maloney 20th is appallingly bad. 13th is a marginally better showing in SQ2 from Mick, ahead of Bottas, Albon and Hulkenberg. Danny Rick putting in a good showing as well. Hulkenberg's completed his flying lap and only manages 15th, so that's one person Mick's definitely ahead of. I assume everyone else is on a flying lap now. Mick might actually be last on track here. Unless there's a batch of drivers just going through that final sector that are about to start their flying laps. Now, perhaps. They should all get to the line, so I think they might be. In fact, one of the RBs is actually done because they're moving out of the way for everyone. As was Hulkenberg there, that we just got past. There's a McLaren and Ferrari right in each other on track just ahead of us. I think that's because they were trying to get past a Ferrari who has completed their lap. So one of the RBs is done. That'll be Tsunoda because he's gone up the order quite significantly since I last looked. So that'll be Tsunoda, that's done. Although Ricciardo's done, actually. So both RBs are finished, I think. Mick can't improve. Verstappen's still in 13th. Albon got to 11th. Here comes Verstappen to sort himself out. Max Verstappen, 13th on merit. What happened to Max Verstappen? Bottas crosses the line, doesn't improve, for we start 14th. Yet to see a Q3 on entirely our own car's power purposes. Max Verstappen, fastest in SQ1, fails to see SQ3. That's such a weird situation. Piastri at pole from Lewis Hamilton. Out of nowhere, Lando Norris, Carlos Sainz, Perez, Leclerc, Tsunoda, Alonso, Russell and Ricciardo in the end. Everyone goes a little bit slower because it's simulated.
And after a season of sprints, this is the last one of the year.
No, it isn't.
The circuit is certainly no stranger to overtakes, so I think we're in for a good one.
The big draw today is the opportunity to grab some extra championship points. After all, they could make the difference when the season comes to a close.
I think we just had yet another example of Frontier's overlooking mentality, really, when it comes to things that have changed and not realizing there's something that should be changed off the back of that. Yeah, Sao Paulo was the last sprint last year because Qatar was slightly earlier in the calendar, but it's after Sao Paulo now, so it's not the last sprint. Crofty, unfortunately. That's not you, though. That's Frontier. And much as I love Frontier for the Planet games and this, they do have a tendency to change things and not realize there's been a knock-on effect that also needs to be dealt with. Oh well, just the medium. It seems to be straightforward. It seems to get to the end. If we have to go on conserve, then we'll have to go on conserve.
24 laps around Sao Paulo in today's sprint. And it's lights out, and away we go.
Tell you what, Lewis Hamilton second must be thinking he can get on the inside here, although the outside have got a good drive off the line. Both Piastri and Norris got off well there. Mick's having to fend off Bottas to begin with. Obviously, Max Verstappen ahead. In fact, has failed to fend off Bottas, which isn't great news. We're probably more likely to suffer in a sprint because we don't get the benefit of underfueling. as Maloney loses a place as well to Shogun New. Both drivers losing out to Saubers. Confidence not great already on both drivers. That's good. That's what we wanted. I was hoping a sprint weekend might spice things up a little bit, but I really don't want to have to be fighting at the back here. At the end of the second push lap, both drivers have got their kick Saubers back. To make back up to 15th, of course, there's no payout for sprints. But as a taster for the race, this is concerning. Watch the Maloney on show as well. On board, I think it might be at the same place, but just on the inside. Final corner, effectively the final corner. Final proper corner. It's a bit of a bendy straight, isn't it? And Mick, having gotten confidence from taking Bottas, will get confidence from taking Albon as well. But I fear this is going to be a problem going forward because obviously Max Verstappen's disappeared off the road. Actually, Max Verstappen had a warning symbol in practice, which he doesn't now. I wonder if that's why he's struggling. Yeah, so we're going to have the confidence issue then with Mick because he's going to be fighting Albon back and forth. Not great. Yeah, so the prediction came true there. Magnussen's had a spin, which has put him well to the back. Max Verstappen himself can't keep up. I thought he might be all right, but no, he's got a brand new engine, which is presumably why he was wounded in practice. But why is Max Verstappen bad? Anyone here running on a soft? No, everyone went medium. I just wondered if there was a lunatic anywhere. What on earth is going on here? Because I think we are closing on them as we continue to fight each other, and this is causing massive problems. But each time we do it, we do take a little bit of time at Max Verstappen. That time it didn't. It must have been a bit more of a fight. Yeah, unfortunately, this just seems to be the race. 10 laps to go, that has literally been the case for... I'm going to say, are we actually on track here? Because these tyres look a bit... Yeah. 10 laps to go, though. That does seem to be the case of what's going on in this race. It's now Bottas at the front of this rather than Albon, so that's at least a breath of fresh air. Maloney, who's not gone any further forward, you can see what happens with the confidence. It has reset to his marker point. I feel at some point, Mick might just... Well, I'll finish that sentence at some point. What's happened here then? Is this his fault? Ah, no. Albon's taken him out. It's not your fault, Mick. If that's killed his ERS, I'm going to be very annoyed. I'm going to presume everyone's going to go onto a soft here, so I'll do the same. It feels like a waste of a soft, but... Oh, they did. What a shock. Albon gets the penalty for that, thankfully. 5 seconds. He gets 5 seconds for that. Taking Mick out of the race. Maloney gets Sargent on the restart. I'm not watching it. Maloney's got... Someone's lit a fire with Maloney's arse on this restart. He's got Hulkenberg too now. Where was this Maloney in the first 10 laps of this 12, however long it's been, of this race? Yeah. It's first time that sentence has kind of made sense of what's happening on screen because all of a sudden he cares about this race. That's Bottas too, for good measure. In terms of everyone else, Sainz, Piastri, Leclerc, it's only 3 laps to go actually. It was about 20 laps prior to this. A little bit further went on than I thought. I mean, at this rate, he's going to take Max Verstappen. I mean, the Red Bull just has the power. But that being said, Maloney has just overtaken Verstappen. What on earth is going on? I mean, he's not going to get to 8th, but I think he's out of deployment, but he can still attack everything else. He's got one final lap to go, but he would have to get through 4 cars to get a point here. Or hope 4 of them crash. It's a lovely bit of confidence, though, for Zane Maloney in a season where he's not really had much, thanks to the way the system works. I think that's the best he's going to do, really. But it's nice to see there is a bit of fight in the car and the driver. I've no idea what's going on with Max Verstappen, but Leclerc won in the end, sorry. It was Sainz that led on 3 laps to go. It was Piastri that led on the last lap, and it was Leclerc that ended up winning the thing. Wow. So Leclerc started 6th and won that. Lance Stroll started 12th and got 3 points out of it. Perez started 5th and ended up 9th. I mean, great showing for Maloney in the end. Interesting they don't actually show them as down arrows for Mick and Albon. Thankfully, he didn't take much out of his ERS. It will still get him to the end of the season, which is the thing that matters. Gearbox, however, is going to be a problem long term. This will get him through this race, but we are going to have to take that. You can see the issue here on this side as well. Engine 50%, that's about to go under. Gearbox 51%, that's about to go under as well. The thresholds for the Renault engine aren't great. Regular qualifying, Maloney benefits from a huge tow from Hulkenberg, I think. Why do I feel like they didn't do 2 laps? Perhaps they did, I don't know. Verstappen's struggling still. I mean, he'll be fine for Q2, absolutely, because he's between us, so I think he'll be fine there. Oh no, there he goes, 4th. Rubber's still very low here, for some reason, even though we had a sprint race before this, on the same day. Did I not put Maloney on 1 lap here, because he's got more fuel for some reason? Oh well, that might be an error on my part, I don't know. I mean, it's certainly an error for Maloney, because that's going to make him about 2 tenths slower. It goes faster in Sector 1, which is good news. To be fair, qualifying where the car is not a bad thing because of the confidence system. Slightly awkward passing there for Mick Schumacher. He'll get away with it, I think. Slow middle sector. I need you to find something. Alonso's on the bubble. Alonso, I think, it might be crossing the line now, actually. Alonso's still on the bubble. Mick goes 13th, pushes Alonso out of Q1. Maloney does do a better middle sector. Bottas could also do... Oh, that's Zhou Guanyu, actually. Zhou Guanyu can do something. Gets ahead of Maloney, just. Maloney himself fails. That might be my fault. Sorry, Zane. At the same time, it might be small mercies Maloney if Sargent does better here. Is Sargent even on track? He is. Oh, he's done. Maloney gets through by the skin of his teeth. I was going to say it might be small mercies for Zane because A, penalties for a lot of people, and B, he obviously used a soft tyre because of the restart, which Mick didn't. So they appear to have taken one of the sandbags out of Verstappen's car this time round. He still seems to be a bit off the pace, but at least he's ahead of his teammate. Sorry, Mick's finished that first round of things. Okay, there goes another driver. 9th. I think that was Albon that actually went ahead. Russell's now gone ahead as well for good measure. Maloney's on plus 2 kilograms again. I don't know what's going on. Hamilton's still listed as an outlap. He's behind us on track. Right, Zane, I need you to go better here. The fact they've done faster third sectors on their outlap is promising. Hamilton, Stroll and Ricciardo all need to find time, and I think they will, but if there was a red flag now, I mean, actually, if there's a red flag now, then we wouldn't be in Q3 on entirely our own merit, would we? There goes Ricciardo. But bear in mind, Russell only just went ahead of us, so there goes Zhou Guanyu into 13th. If we were to find that 10th to get ahead of Russell here, we still have to hope for Hamilton and Stroll. Hamilton's behind us on track, of course, that's a problem. Stroll's behind us on track as well, I think. Hulkenberg sneaks into 11th, that's not going to be helpful. Mick's ahead on track, faster first, but slower middle, with Maloney the reverse. Exactly what I did in Q1, actually. Pattern-wise, I mean. Mick does not find any time overall the lap. Maloney goes 8th. Stroll goes 8th. That doesn't matter, though. Hamilton's behind. Hamilton can only make Maloney 10th, and does. We are in Q3 by 4 1,000ths. 4 thousandths. Say Maloney, take a bow, son. How have you gone from 20th in sprint qualifying to 10th, let's be honest, in regular qualifying? How are you, like, 10 places better? I mean, that's 4 tenths between sessions. Where does that come from? Also, you now don't have any soft tyres for the race, but never mind. I probably actually could have time for 2 laps here, I just realised. But I'm just going to do 2 manuals instead. Yeah, it doesn't matter what he does, it says plus 2 kilograms for some stupid reason. No one has annoyingly come out, apart from Stroll, I think it is, behind. Yeah, Stroll. It's important to set the ERS before this final turn because they do use it out of that turn to get up to speed for the straight, and therefore they have the speed on the straight. But that tiny little fraction that goes into turn 1, that's important. Right. Use tyre lap on the board as someone goes yellow flagging. 108.4. 108.4 is, I think, about right? Because it was 108.35, wasn't it? So he's only half a tenth slower. So Stroll went wide. Okay, so I mean it's barely wide. He's half a tenth down, but so he is coming in. He's actually done a faster first sector on his in lap, which is hilarious. I'm sorry. Why are you 6th, lad? The 3 people massively slow have just gone for a lap early, which is probably not a bad idea. Yeah, he's stuck with plus 2 kilograms for some stupid reason, but Hamilton goes 4th. Sykes goes 5th off the back of those laps. Stroll's still bad and behind, because I think Stroll's done. Yeah, he's on his in-lap. Verstappen, Perez, Tsunoda all on flyers. I'm hoping we can compromise these Ferraris enough, or not catch this one in time. Actually, if we can't catch this Ferrari in time, that would be really good. Just for tow purposes, that would be really good. McLaren's still fighting it for pole here. Piastri on a flying lap, Leclerc on a flying lap as well. Oh, Leclerc's just started his flying lap, sorry, I should say. So Piastri goes 6,000ths behind his teammate. That was a tight one between them. Sainz is done, Hamilton is done, Stroll is done. Everyone else, I think, is going on a flying lap. We won't go on board because we were on board last time, but we will watch him go round. Perez goes ahead into 7th. It's not great from the Red Bull still, and still behind the RB by a significant margin, notably. I feel like both us and the Ferrari are going to catch Oscar Piastri before he needs to go in the pits. If that is Oscar Piastri. There goes Verstappen. Only 6th. 4 tenths off the pace. It's not their weekend. We did catch him. Might be slightly awkward, but faster first and second sectors for a car that is already only 8 tenths off the lead here. What is going on with Zane Maloney this weekend? How are you so bad in sprint qualifying? Where has this come from, Zane Maloney? I mean, Fastest sector still only amounted to 8/100ths, but it's still 9th. Two green sectors did get me more excited than I should have realised. They were probably still only marginal gains. I wish we had deltas. You know what? Actually, still his best lap, just marginally, but still his best lap. I'll absolutely take that because I think realistically for the race, we've got Stroll, who, I mean, consistently around the same ballpark. Ricardo's faster in Q1, so he's kind of maybe a little bit out of place there. And Russell's out of place. So Ricardo and Russell we're probably going to expect to come through here. Stroll, I don't know, because he seems to be roughly the same. And Fernando's, of course, out of whack as well. And a faster driver than Stroll in the same car.
There's a terrific atmosphere here in Interlagos as the drivers prepare for 71 laps of scintillating action.
Brazil loves a home racer, and none more so than the brilliant Ayrton Senna. His victory here at Interlagos in 1991, fighting a broken gearbox, is one of the most emotional moments in F1 history.
Interlagos Sector 2 is a maze of twists and turns, demanding the highest downforce. Sectors 1 and 3 are high speed, however, giving drivers plenty to keep them busy around this thrilling track. The time has almost come for our drivers to fight it out wheel to wheel. Race day has arrived.
So Mick doesn't start last, but almost last. Trying to work out strategies here with Mick, because the base one he gave us isn't good. Tyre wear here is quite bad, and the tyres on offer aren't much better. So it looks like Mick's best option is conservative soft runs with a regular medium run in between them. That appears to be the best option there. Obviously, there's a little bit of space at the end of this first stint just to allow him to push at the very, very beginning. Whereas Zane does have more medium tyres. He's offering 1-stops here, which seem weird. It's strange that the 2-stop is that bad, but it's because he doesn't have any softs at all. I'm reluctant to go on a hard, but medium, hard is viable. I'm just worried about undercuts. Undercuts are always powerful, so I'm worried about that as a thing, but he has no softs at all is the problem. But he does have medium. How many mediums has he actually got here? Out of curiosity. Okay, yeah, so yeah, he's only got the 2 mediums. So what's your estimated race time with that? 1:22.33. 1:22.36 apparently, but you don't have medium, so 1.3 kilograms per lap here. You can take 10 out. We'll go 5. Right then.
Final checks are being carried out by the teams, and it won't be long until we get this race underway. This race should be a good chance to see what Valtteri Bottas can manage.
They sit in 17th, and let's be honest, no one wants to be at the back of the pack. But can they impress us here?
But remember, anything can happen in Formula One. And now, it's time for the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
We should really focus on Maloney off the start here, starting in the top 10. For the first time, any of our cars have done it under their own steam and no other exigent circumstances other than other drivers just not performing. Speaking of not performing, he has been taken by Lance Stroll, who is on a hard compound tyre. Yep, he's on a hard compound tyre, as is Daniel Ricciardo. Norris in second, Magnussen and Albon. Norris in second, of course, having started on pole, won't finish the first lap in the lead. He's down 2 places now, Maloney, as well, because Ross has gone through on a soft tyre. That was a little bit less surprising. Fastest first sector of anyone. In a weird way, it's good for him to get them out of the way straight away. I know it's not great confidence-wise, but it does allow him to rebuild that confidence as quickly as he possibly can, as Russell hopefully then goes through Stroll. Mick went backwards off the start as well, somehow. Despite being on a soft tyre, he has gone behind the only other vehicle that was behind him. I don't know who started on 22nd. I wasn't looking. Okay, okay, Maloney, you need to sort yourself out here, mate. We'll have DRS here on Hulkenberg, who won't, though. You know, I've just realised I didn't push Maloney off the start. That's my bad, Zane. Bye, Nico. So the funny thing is now, Zane's now going to be pushing. I don't need to watch it again. I saw it live. Zane's now going to be pushing when other people aren't. So we're going to drag Daniel Ricciardo, I think. He's not going to be outside of DRS zone here, but we are going to drag Danny Rick with us to Russell and Stroll because they're going to stop pushing now and Zane won't. So Hulkenberg has damage. That's one person. Mick got 2 drivers. I need to go straight to light. I didn't see the Sergeant overtake, so I'll watch that one live. Oh, he's basically just gone for a 2-for-1 special. That's the final corner, isn't it? So he's got Sergeant there, and then he's going to DRS past Ocon as well for good measure. It's like he's got a cheat code on there. Yeah, so Mick has indeed... Zane. So Zane has indeed dragged Danny Rick with him, but he's not actually going to get anywhere, so I might as well just leave that as is and let him fight. Just leave it to Danny Rick to get past and let Danny Rick drag Zane up instead. The natural recovery rate doesn't look good. It looks like we would run out 4 laps from the end. So I think we need to let this happen. It's going to put his confidence into low, which isn't fun. But I'm kind of hoping the RB has that much more speed than... Nope, never mind. What I was going to say, I suppose we could use it to conserve fuel if we got behind him. So Mick's now on the back of a train, which we can definitely conserve behind. Because it's a train that starts with Albon. So the pace here between all of us is very similar, apart from the Sabres, which are probably a little bit bad. But there's not enough of a differential in the pace. There's not enough of a differential in the pace between all of these vehicles that it's going to really see one driver pull away, particularly if the front two are Magnussen and Albon, because the Hassan, the Williams, and ourselves are kind of similar. So, in fact, Mick does get Zhou Guanyu at the back of that, despite conserving on soft tyres. And conserving fuel, but thankfully it does seem to have kept Maloney in a holding pattern behind Ricciardo, so if Ricciardo could close up to the back of Russell and Stroll, that'd be great. If he can't, then never mind. I'm happy to just sit here, really. If I have to tell you to conserve fuel as well, I will top up on ERS as well, I will do. Because I need you to stop being stupid. Who's crashed now? Was it Sargent? Sorry. Mick, despite soft... So what is Mick doing here? He's conserving tyres and he's conserving fuel. And yet somehow he's still making moves. Mick! I love you, buddy. What's going on? Why are you doing this to me? Oh, it was Ocon who span. That makes sense. Yeah, he's now 21st. I think he was 21st anyway, wasn't he? Oh, I think he was ahead of Sargent before. Yeah, so if you top up your ERS, you conserve your fuel, you just use that Daniel Ricciardo, Zane. So Mick's still in this train. No one's really detaching. Bottas is a little bit off. I get the sense that maybe at the end of this straight, he might have a go. So despite doing both of those things, he's actually still... God, the gap to... Oh, no, wait. The gap to Stroll is right there. Russell got Stroll, and Stroll's nowhere near anyone now. Problem is, Daniel Ricciardo's going to get him back here. I'm still going to stick to this, because I think I could have gotten Stroll's DRS and maybe made the most of that, but I can't be bothered, really. I'd rather, really... Actually... In the process of defending against Danny Rick there, I think he's still got DRS off Stroll. So actually, we're in a strong position here. I don't think you need to top up anymore, mate. Doing much better fuel-wise and normal push. I think you can actually see the rate in which you get the fuel back. So realistically, we need to see it go over that 71 mark. Or 70 mark, as it is, really. Because 71's the final bit there. But I suspect we'll be lapped at some point during the course of this race. So I need to be able to see it go comfortably past that, really. So Mick's still in this train. Should have been watching Maloney, really. So he gets taken by 2 drivers because he must have taken Stroll originally and then didn't have DRS on the next straight. So great driving driver craft there. What's it called? Racecraft. That's the word. Yeah, lost 2 positions, so he did get ahead of Stroll first. I don't need to see the replay to see what happened there. Now, mixed tyres are going to be a limiting factor here as Magnussen falls through the order here. So Magnussen somehow doesn't have DRS. The ghosting here is awful, by the way. Apologies for that. So Magnussen, for some reason, didn't have DRS there. And Bottas and Mick took him with ease, then disappeared. No, he doesn't. He's 1.2 behind. So now it's a 3 train with Albon. I actually think Mick can start topping up ERS there. Oh, Mick's really going to have to conserve, actually, at some point. That first bit really did push his tyres out. Ricciardo has an issue. Mechanical fault. Okay, topping up is a bad idea with Mick. All right, so Albon has just done something which has seen the order shake up quite dramatically. Albon's on hard tyres, that's why he's not doing too well. And he's doing even less well now. You don't say, Albon. I think that was more oversteer, the way your car went whoomp. But, you know, all right. That, annoyingly, I think it's actually pushed Mick out of DRS of Bottas. And I didn't have a lot of time to react to it. All right, so I'm just going to have to sacrifice even more lap time there, but I'll get it back through the fuel, not push. So Gasly won't be able to drive away from Mick. That's fine. I just need Mick to get into the DRS of Bottas, ideally, which he's not really doing. All right, back up a notch there, Mick, just as Gasly gets past him again. Fun. It looks like we might be getting to lap 69 now. Nice. With Zane. Back on conserve, Mick. Ricciardo's issue gets worse. What is it? Lap 20. What is Ricciardo's issue? Gearbox. If it goes, he retires. Ricciardo was on hard tyres as well, wasn't he? Stroll and Ricciardo are both on hard tyres, which is why Maloney was with them for a while, I think. Mick doing all right on his tyres. Verstappen absolutely destroyed his. I don't know if he's 3-stopping. Ah, that's a problem, Mick. Okay, so if we just go light on the medium for a little bit, we should be all right. We should be able to see this through. What have you hurt there, out of curiosity? Oh, it's just the tyres. Did you get forced off here, by the way? Or did you just do it naturally of your own regard? Didn't hit the wall like Nico, though, so that's good news. But we have lost a bit of momentum there. He's up to 18th, though, which isn't too bad from 21st. He's just going to suffer the rest of this lap, of course, as well. So he's only lost about 3 seconds there because he was in this section. But we're going to lose a little bit more just by not being able to push the mediums for a bit. We are going to have to come off them at some point in his stint just to get them back on track. We won't do it at the start, but he will be the first to pit. That isn't Hulkenberg, of course, who had a separate issue, although he has not fixed the issue, interestingly. So it must be damage elsewhere that isn't front wing. I'm concerned about being lapped early on here, but I think we'll get away with it. I don't think we actually need to push the tyres to actually get them up to temperature here because it's so hot on track. So the fact that Ricciardo's gearbox has gone to severe, moderate, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what it is. Is it minor, moderate, severe? I guess. Moderate. The fact it's gone to moderate already at lap 22 is concerning for them. They're probably going to retire the way things are going. So I think other soft runners are pitting now. Max Verstappen went a while ago, I suspect. Where is Max? 12th. So we're not going to get an undercut on Sargent, irritatingly, just because he's come in early too. He might actually even come out ahead of Ocon. Oh, Verstappen came out behind Maloney, and Sainz has come out ahead of him. Come off the fuel here a bit, actually, because if you can just nick the DRS off Sainz, that'd be great, but I don't think you will. No, you won't. Alonso's up to 13th as well. Kind of forgot about him being at the back of the grid originally. Verstappen's a really good person to nab DRS off here, though. Just briefly. He's going to tank his confidence again. Or just overtake him again. Sure, whatever. That works too. All right, so Magnussen pits now. Mick's not going to get much of an undercut on him either to try and get that place back. I feel like he's lost time by pitting early for some reason. I think it was just the fact his tyres were so bad that he lost time before he even went into the pits. There's some people here who'll get big undercuts on, though, I think. Albon, actually, despite being on those hards, did destroy them. Stroll and Ricciardo and Norris are taking theirs seriously. Albon's treating them like they're a medium. But I'm concerned Norris won't pit before he laps Mick, which is going to cost him time. Apparently this is the optimal pit stop for Maloney. I didn't even realise. What's his tyres? I can see him there, 39. Fair. You can attack him for 1 lap, mate. What's your interval, Maloney, to anyone near you? Perez. Oh, sorry, is it Perez you were fighting, or was Perez just pitted in front of you here? What's happened there? Tell me you've not lost more places. You've been overtaken by someone. Alonso, I think it must have been. Is Alonso on a hard? No, he was on a medium as well. I think the confidence has just killed Maloney there. Great. Yellow flag. Are you? No, he's nowhere near. I mean, apparently it's quite clear, but both drivers are still going. So I think Logan May just clocked Magnussen, I think it is. So I think Sargent just clocked Magnussen as he went wide or whatever. I don't really know what happened there. It looks like Mick's just about going to get to lap 70 now, which, considering he's going to be lapped, probably, is actually probably okay. I say we recovered 3 kilograms in 25 laps, with some of it not actually even on recovery. Like, Maloney's a better indicator of actually how quick that came back, because he's been conserving for more of this race than Mick has. 2.9, so we've got 3.7 back off him minimum in 27 laps. So I think we can come off recovery now, and I think we'll get to a point where we'll get to 1 lap under. Because I just don't want Mick in particular to be lapped by Norris before Norris pits. He's doing a 1:15.1. Mick's doing a 1:14.3 in fairness. He's actually going faster than him. But I just don't want it. I don't want it to be like a knock-on effect here. So Gasly pits. Mick's got the undercut on Gasly by a huge margin. Ricciardo's fully out. Mick's got the undercut on Bottas as well. Going early's really helped. He's irritatingly not really gaining on. I think with this gap behind and the gap ahead, now's the time to get. Well, now's the time to get on schedule here. But we'll do a few laps on just light. Maloney is 20 seconds. Maloney's essentially a fourth pit stop behind Stroll and Tsunoda, but he's ahead of Alonso. Got an undercut there. Okay, so we've built in a bit of a tyre buffer with Mick now, so I think that'll be fine. I kind of wanted to get him a little bit more fuel, because I think those leaders have pitted now. So now that danger is past, I'll just get him to the same level that Maloney's at. In fact, he's gaining quite considerably, as we get a nose for them. He's getting quite considerably on Magnussen and Sargent now. Meanwhile, I don't think this is actually Maloney catching Alonso. I think this was Alonso catching Maloney, and he's got him back, and I missed the reverse of this. I think that's Hulkenberg, not Magnussen behind, in case you're confused. I think that's a lapped Hulkenberg. Yeah, so I think these guys are going to get to lap 70 now, regardless. They could do a bit more recovery at some point if I think they're going to have an issue. Actually, I'm not fully confident they're going to get lapped. Lap 42, Piastri is still only there. Mick's probably going to get lapped. But I'm not confident Zane is, if I'm completely honest. I'm going to go back conserving with Zane because he's been dropped by Alonso quite significantly there. And whilst Mick was catching Sargent and Magnussen, that seems to have stopped now for some reason. And that's coming down. That was coming down, but for some reason Bottas just snuck through instead as the lighting changes. That's irritating. So just as we got in the DRS of Sargent and Magnussen, Bottas comes through the one DRS zone before that. I need to make sure these guys can actually get to the end. Sargent pits early. We've actually missed the optimum lap for Zane there for some reason. So Kevin Magnussen does not have DRS here. This is the first time we actually have a chance to do something. Sargent, of course, pitted there. It's 14 seconds to Bottas, and I think Maloney will come out behind. I'm actually slightly concerned that Zane's going to come out exactly where the leaders are, which is obviously going to be a massive problem. But Bottas has disappeared. Mick's got Magnussen while he's at it. Yeah, he's right where the leaders are. Although if he gets past immediately, that might not be too much of a problem. I think that might work out, actually, weirdly. Come off the conserving. Deploy a bit. Get in there, DRS, Zane, if you can. No, you didn't. What's happened there is your confidence system has gone against you, Mick, is what's happened there. Literally the lap before he needs to come in anyway, so it's not too much of a problem. He was doing so well as well. Right, so you're going to be dragged around by these people that have lapped you. All right, try and counterbalance some of this problem by deploying Mick. Albon's pitted, I think, so this is actually bad. Oh, no, he hasn't. Albon hasn't pitted. So we might get an undercut again, but... I mean, I don't think the leaders are pitted is the problem here. Or maybe they have, actually, because he's on a 75% medium. Sainz hasn't pitted, but I think Norris has. He's only pitted once, though. He started on a hard. So I don't know if he's going one stop. Oh, don't overtake him, Zane. Because you're just going to have to let him through again. Can I do anything to just stay behind him without overtaking him? That seems to have done the trick. I'm just watching Zane go round and round and round and waiting for Sainz to pit. The second he pits, I can send him off again. He's got a mechanical fault, which isn't going to help. Sainz, are you going to pit, mate? There we go. Actually got the fuel entirely back on Mick Schumacher without even looking. By accident. It's 9 seconds back to... so I'm actually going to go full conserve on Mick Schumacher just to get him to the end without any issues whatsoever. So Bottas has pitted and come out behind Mick Schumacher by a significant margin. I don't fully know what's happening here because Mick's now in the DRS of Magnussen and Sargent again. They're on hard tyres. They've gone the reverse. Bottas has just come in and gone on brand new sauce, so he actually might be quick. So Maloney is behind Piastri, right? So is Maloney DRSing behind Piastri here? No, he doesn't have DRS. 11 laps to go. Mick is in Sargent's DRS. He does have Magnussen still ahead as well. Bottas is closing, unsurprisingly. There are leaders to lap as well, which is fun, but it's quite a way for us to try and get to Stroll and Alonso. The gap to Stroll and Alonso is still ridiculous. We are still currently hovering in that best of the rest, but Mick is recovering quite well from back of the grid. As he gets past Sargent, not in a DRS zone. Well done, Mick Schumacher. They're going to get back to us actually with those hard tyres, I think. Yeah, that's actually not bad from Mick there. Well done, mate. Now get into... as Sargent gets pushed out of the way. Oh, Magnussen, for some reason, has pace on those hards and gets done. That happened so quickly, I didn't get to react to it. I think this is a beneficiary of lapping. It was a beneficiary of lapping. In fact, Sargent's going to get him as well because Magnussen doesn't have DRS. Mick is now being dragged along by, I think, Max Verstappen. Don't unlap yourself, Mick. Don't unlap yourself. Use this opportunity to top up. You've got a gap to Magnussen, actually. Mick did unlap himself off Verstappen and stayed ahead of him for a little while there, but he's back behind him again. We've topped up, crucially. Maloney is literally driving by himself. You do not need a battle assist on. You have 25 seconds ahead and 21 seconds behind. I have to say, Leclerc isn't really closing too much. There's a cheer. I don't know if that means someone's gone off, or they're just cheering an overtake on the main straight, perhaps. The overtakes are happening ahead of Mick Schumacher, which he's not in DRS for anymore. He's not in DRS for anymore. But he does have 3.5 seconds to Sargent, 4 now, as Magnussen falls back. But Bottas still exists on better softs. So it makes positions under threat, but I think both our softs are going to go off at a similar rate, kind of, really, comparative to the cars. I think realistically, we're just driving to the end now. In fact, no one's actually fighting Mick, so we can take him off DRS battle assist as well. If it's final lap if it's final lap, we can actually fully go for it. Just get him to deploy, why not? It's got to be said, even for the predicted range of these hards for Maloney, he absolutely obliterated the prediction there. He was so much better off on those tyres by the end of that race than I thought, but he is the first person who is lapped, basically, to finish. Didn't get taken by Leclerc in the end. Leclerc did not keep up with Zane Maloney at the end of that race. The 1-2 McLaren, they left him behind, but not a track for the Red Bulls, apparently. In its 12th and 13th, it is best of the rest. Mick made it interesting, coming from the back and then spinning twice and still finished 13th, which is depressing for everyone else behind us, actually, when you think about it. But one retirement means we are 12th and 13th rather than 13th, 14th. I thought we might have a little bit more on our hands here, but I don't think that's going to make much difference. George Russell with the fastest lap, actually, but Zane was down 3 from 9th. I really thought we were on for a point there after qualifying, perhaps, but Fernando up to 11th, Mick up to 13th is quite a recovery for him. Lucas Sargent does the business and gets up to 15th for him. Wonder if that does anything for his personal standings. No, still 20th. Tell you what, that makes the constructors interesting all of a sudden. 8 points for Red Bull, 41 for Ferrari, 55. Oh, sprint for McLaren. I was like, how the hell did they get 55? But yeah, 41 for Ferrari, 55 for McLaren. That closes things right up, particularly between Ferrari and McLaren, but also 70 points separates them from Red Bull, roughly. It's doable if they keep having races like this. With 3 races to go, if they claw back 30 points a race somehow, that's suddenly very interesting. We still can't do a pit stop to save our life. Apparently, 2.6 for our pit stops. They weren't good. Like it says he failed, but we get the money for it. Visual bug. It is a little bit annoying that end of status quo. I thought that was actually looking quite good for a moment there. Oh, Toby's up to 77. I swear he was 77 before. So there's the big one. Race Simulator in. That takes their weekly development up to 20%, which is better than it was before. Getting car parts in that are failing tests. And, crucially, the person who actually was English, Taylor Barnard, will get him in as a development driver. Urgel's up. That's good because he's actually staying. Carpentier's up. That's good because he's staying. Team Up is in as well, which gives 110% effectiveness, so that's mentality plus 2.2. I don't know how that's going on there, but weekly development is also up for staff, that is. Doesn't actually say, but it is staff. And team attractiveness up as well. Mentality 2.2 is going to be interesting for the drivers who don't have good mentality now for some reason, because all the bonuses for signing people and facilities are gone. So something strange is going on. Neither Max Verstappen or Lando Norris have contracts for next year. I'm not going to click on them or go over to their contract tab because I know that will show me if they're being replaced or not. But neither of them have a contract lined up. Neither does Charles Leclerc or Oscar Piastri for that matter. Fernando Alonso does have a contract lined up, and I actually knew about this one already because I saw it by accident. But I'm not going to spoil it for you. But if they had a contract for another team, or indeed their own team, it would be here in between this. In fact, I'll show it with, let's say, Dennis Hauger, who's coming to us as an affiliate driver. It would say that there. So as a tease, really, neither of these top 4, literally the top 4 drivers, have a drive lined up. I'm really confused what's happening. For instance, I'll spoil this one. George Russell does have a contract with Mercedes next year. He's renewed his contract for next year. So George Russell will be a Mercedes driver. The Lewis Hamilton to Ferrari is hard-coded. That happens. So the other seat is available. George Russell is hard-coded. George Russell has renegotiated his own contract for next year, which apparently will be 4 years. But none of the top 4 have a contract lined up, which is weird, right? That's weird. Like if they're just running down and there's an empty seat, because sometimes they do run out and don't refill them until the new year. If they're just running them down and they don't have a replacement, then they might end up just swapping with each other as a result, or indeed just renewing with their own team again as free agents, essentially. But because I have seen someone do the change team method of revealing as we do here, but the end of season change of team reveal of showing the rosters, there have been gaps in those rosters at that point in time. By the time you get the email through showing you the rosters in the new year, they have filled those spaces. But on the actual turn of the year, if they haven't filled that seat, then it will just be a gap on that reveal roster thing. So, but in the email one that comes in a few days later, they will have filled them by then. So that's fascinating. So whilst the last 2 races have been a bit of a damp squib, by the end of them, there's a little bit of excitement to get us through to the end of this season. We do still have Las Vegas, we do still have Qatar, we do still have Abu Dhabi. Hospitality area does get upgraded in the meantime as well. When does this sponsor plan end? 1 week left. Ah, there. I just wondered because there's still 2 races after this, so I don't know what's going on with that sponsor plan as such. But you can see all these contracts end. It doesn't actually have the ones coming in, weirdly, for the new year for us. But affiliate-wise, next year, you can see our situation. We'll have 5 drivers on the books as affiliates. And I think I'm happy to leave it at that for now. I might be tempted to bring in another F1 Academy driver just to see if we can get 2 female drivers at some point in the long run. But I did kind of want to lean this towards... It is interesting they say nation here on these ones, but the new gen drivers don't have them. Even if they do have them, they just don't show them. But crucially, 2 English drivers in Abby Pullen and Taylor Barnard, which is the idea full-time. But the idea long-term is to use 2 British drivers, so Abby Pulling and Taylor Barnard, having them both in and developing maybe could be good. And then there's a couple more just on the books, particularly someone who's already in F3. Weirdly, it doesn't say Dennis Harker's in F2, even though he is in F2. I wonder if that just means he hasn't got a drive for F2 next year, whereas Dino Ganovic does have an F3 drive next year still. I suspect that's what it is. But if you enjoyed this episode, we'll leave that one there. Thank you for watching. We do have 3 more races to go. Las Vegas, next time out for its 2nd running. I believe it was a bit of a weird one last year where you could have a bit of anomalous results. I don't know if they've scaled that back this year. I don't know if it's more sort of realistic and more in line with everything else. But we'll see, won't we? But I'll see you there. Thank you for watching. Ta-ra.